everybody, welcome back to Creating Hanley. I am the Hanley at Creating Hanley. Now, my name is Kimberly, and I have been making lots and lots of videos, but not posting them. So, we need to get that going. But if you've been watching my videos, you know that I bought this air book, or this, whatever the hell this is. I don't know what this is. It's a MacBook Air. It's a 2020. This is right. It's a 2020 MacBook Air that I just bought this summer in 2023. And I specifically bought this computer to do these videos. However, oops, I keep bumping this. Because I just showed you that computer, you know I'm not recording on it. I should be recording on a camera, but I'm back to my old tried and true MacBook Pro. Love this computer. I hope it never goes away. I love this computer. So you know this video is going to be raw and unedited because that's how we roll on this MacBook Pro. Anyway, I want to do a video on postcards. Now, this is not a postcard. This is a regular greeting card from the craft store that you can make your own. And I have a matching envelope right here. So, you know, the matching envelope. But I want to make a postcard greeting card. So I'm going to make a greeting card fabric greeting card. So this is from the craft store again, and you have probably seen other videos that make fabric postcards that you can mail legitimately through the mail, but you have to get them hand canceled, which is perfectly fine here in the United States. But I wanted to give this to a neighbor, so I'm not going to hand stamp it or mail it. I'm just going to walk it over. But it's going to be a little house design. So let me show you this design right down here. So what I do is I took some scraps that I already have. And can you see this is in kind of, here, let me move this stuff out of the way. This is, this is my Sew a Year Full of Stars Sew Along. And which I actually have the fabric right off camera right here. I have that ready to go. So that's an upcoming video. However, you can kind of see this is like a rough outline of a house. Can you see the little roof here? And then this is like the sky, the sun, and then here's the house, and then here's a window and the pathway to the door. Anyway, I kind of made it like, I dropped this. I kind of made it to look like a house. So hopefully you guys can see that. So what we are going to do is sew this together. So I didn't take the time on camera to cut everything with you because you could just pick out your own scraps however you want to do that. And I just picked out narrow ones. So for example, for this green one, this was a long strip. I actually just trimmed it in half, and then I'm going to sew this together. And I did the same with this. This was a long strip. I just trimmed it in half, and then I'm going to sew this little piece right here. So that makes a little chunk right there. That makes a little unit. And then once that unit is done, or it doesn't matter how you start, but you can start with there or you can start with the roof. I'm going to put these pieces together here, and then I'm going to sew those to the roof. And then I have you know, straight edges that I can sew. This is like my window, and then I'm going to put that there, and then so let me show you how we do it. And I have it on a foundation, but I'm going to, how do I want to do this? I think I want to make the units and then sew it onto my foundation, which is kind of backwards. We don't normally do that. Alright, but anyway, we're going to experiment here. So, you know what? Maybe it's a normal way to do things that other people do it, but we're going to create something new because this is Creating Hanley, and we are just going to go with the flow. So normally, on a foundation, you just leave your pieces on a foundation. However, I think I'm going to start down here, and I want to put these together first. So, let's just take this over to the machine. How do I want to do this, actually? I think I want to put these together first. So here's my, can you see my mad scientist brain working here? So if I explode this out and I want to put all these pieces together, you can see that. In quilting, I think I want to attach these two pieces together first. And then I'll attach them to here. So that's what I'm going to do. So here I'm going to line up these edges. This edge and this edge. This edge and this edge. I'm going to line those up. I'm going to try to keep my arms and hands out of the way of the camera so you guys can actually see it. So I'm going to line that up right there. And then I'm going to sew on this long edge right here. I am not using a 1/4 inch. I will use an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, but I will not use a 1/4 inch. And I also increased my stitch length. So I don't know if the camera can capture that stitch length. Can you see that up in here? It's a little bit longer, so it's a 3.5 millimeter. Normally it's at a 3 millimeter. I'm just going to make it a 3.5. Again, this is a greeting card that will probably be thrown away. I mean, you know, just be serious. So, this is the side that I'm going to sew to here. So I want to make sure that is pretty much lined up, and it is. And because y'all know I like to work with flat fabric, I'm going to take you over here to my, right here to my pressing, what I call a pressing station. It's just my iron, not a special iron. It's just a little Hamilton Beach. No water in here because water tends to corrode the inside workings there. And so what I do if I need water is I have my little paint spray bottle, my automatic sprayer, and I just spray on the fabric like that, and then I press down. Now water will help to relax the fibers of your fabric. So if you find that you just need a little extra help, you can add some steam like that. Okay, so now I'm going to keep these in the same order. Let's bring this back down. So I'm going to keep these in the same order, and I'm going to do this exact same thing over here. I'm going to put right sides together, line up these edges. Now you may not have a straight line, like this one isn't exactly straight. It's a little wonky, but that's okay. You can see it's not exactly straight. That's fine. I just want to make sure my sewing edge is straight, and then I will trim that up later, or maybe not even trim it up because it's going on the back of here, so it probably won't even matter a whole lot. So again, because I like to work with a flat surface, I'm just going to apply some heat to this fabric. And yeah, a little bit of steam. There we go. So now these two units, so just like this, and then the walkway or the door goes right in the center, just like that. So I'm going to line up the top edge here. So I'm going to bring this over on this side so it's not all confusing. Okay, so I'm going to line this up right here. So I'm going to put right sides together here, flip this around, and then put this through the machine, stitch that up, open it up. Now you can finger press if you want. Now if you have one of those little rollers, you can use those. I do not have a roller, so I'm just going to use my steam, or not my steam, my iron. And then this goes on this side. So again, line up the edges there. Now because I'm using crumbs, not everything is square. If you want to square up all your fabric pieces before you do that, all your crumbs and scraps, have at it, man. I am not going to do that. So I don't even want it super square, actually. I just do want it a little bit wonky. That's kind of the fun of it, right? I'm trying to look for scissors here, but I do want to get rid of these little extra threads. They're bothering me. Okay. So sometimes I do things just because something is bothering me. Like these little threads hanging out at the end. You don't have to trim those because you're probably going to cut them off anyway. But yeah, I just like to clean things up a little bit. All right, so I have my grass, so to speak, already done, and the beginnings of the house right here, and here's like the walkway to the door. And then this next piece I'm going to throw on right here. So this one just happens to be a flower, but again, I'm using an 1/8 of an inch. Now the seam allowance on the bottom, I want to make sure I'm going in the same direction and not flip it over. But yeah, I'm using an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, not a 1/4 of an inch. And you can see where the stitch line is. You see that? And then, so yeah, it's really, but when you flip it over, you want to make sure that all the fabric on the bottom is caught. So yeah, it's a short seam allowance. That's okay because we're going to quilt on the top of it. And again, it's probably going to be thrown away anyway. So, you know, whatever. Oh, I also wanted to mention this foundation is a dryer sheet. I'm just using a dryer sheet for the foundation. And I cut it 4 inches by 6 inches because that is postcard size. And also this card right here, this cardstock, is 5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. So that is like a picture. But what I did was I measured, because I know it's 5 by 7, I measured in 1/2 inch on either sides, and then I drew a line. Can you see that? I drew a line 1/2 inch in just with pencil that you can erase. And so I know that this is 6 inches. So that's going to be centered, and then I drew a line at the top. So this is going to be the top of my card right here. So I'm gonna have the card open this way, and so I know this is 5 inches, and I want my postcard to be, or my picture to be, 4 inches. So again, I drew a line 1/2 inch down from the top, and I did actually draw a line 1/2 inch from the bottom, but I decided to erase that because you don't actually need it. You just want to, at least if you have these 3 sides, you can line up your picture that way, and you don't have to worry about the bottom line, okay? Well, sometimes you do have to worry about the bottom line, but not right here. All right, guys, so let's go back down here. So we're coming along. So here's what we have so far for this unit, and then this is going to go right there. And then, you know, when we get everything sewn together, we'll sew it on the foundation, and we'll sew it on the cardstock, and then we will be done. So I'm going to put these 2 sides together, right sides together. And the gray part I want for my window. So I already have an idea for that, and I'm going to have to cut that a little bit shorter. So you can adjust that. So it's going to be vertical or horizontal, right? So if you want your window long window, or you can even do like this, 1/2 and 1/2. I know I want my window a little bit smaller on the side of the house. So I'm going to have like this little piece when I trim this. This is going to be here, and then this is going to be a little bit longer. So you see how you can like play with that? Or if you wanted the hearts, like, you know, I have this gray, and then I have these hearts. If I wanted the hearts to be the window, I could just bring this over more that way, and then the window could be over here, or I could flip it around. And you see how that can work, right? So I'm just going to keep that right there. And then I will, yeah, you know what? I'm going to sew this onto here. So let's do that. And you can see, right sides together, you can see it's not straight across. It's a little bit wonky, and that's fine. But when I do my sew, I want to make sure that my stitches catch where that little dip is. So if you're using, you know, a 1/4 inch, or if you're using a 1/4 inch, you should be fine on the seam allowance, you know, catching all your fabric. But if you're not, this seam is going to be a little bit wonky, which means it's not going to be flat, like straight flat. It's going to be a little bit crooked. And I am super okay with that because, again, it's scrappy. And I'm not, you know, like an engineering architect over here trying to get everything perfect. It's fabric, for crying out loud. It's art, right? Although I think I did a pretty good job at keeping everything straight, even though I was not trying to. I really actually didn't want to, but everything seemed to come out straight. So there's that. Yeah, so this little piece right here, you can see kind of like a hole through right there. Can you see my finger? Boop, there you go. That's a little bit of a hole. I kind of don't like that, so I'm going to see if I can catch that again. So that might make the strip a little bit more wonky. There we go. Nope, that still didn't catch. Okay. So again, because it's going on cardboard, now that just may have made a pucker. That may have made a pucker in the fabric. And it sure did. So I'm just going to iron it. Now I need a little bit of steam to relax the fabric and kind of mold it into the shape that I want it to go. So there we go. So here's what we have so far. I'm going to place that right at the bottom, and now we have our roof. And I may need a little extra fabric at the top. I might be a little short up here. So let's find out. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this. I'm going to add these two pieces together first, because this, you can see how this angle goes and then this angle goes. So that's kind of like almost on the same line. So when I take this flat piece of fabric, I want to make sure it overlaps everything. It overlaps the foundation, and it overlaps all these little, I don't know what to call them, angles, I guess. So I'm just going to put these right sides together right here. And I may have to dig through my stash bin real quick, my crumb box real quick, just to see if I have maybe an extra piece. I know I have an extra piece of white. But that happens. That happens when you are adding seam allowances. The fabric shrinks. So allow yourself extra fabric. Yeah, so how was it? It was going to go like this. Okay, it's going to go like this. So I actually need to put this white piece up here, and yes, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this little white piece up here. Now I'm going to need a bigger piece over here. So I'm going to put this white piece right here. And then when I open that up, that creates that corner there. How does this go? Like this. So that creates that little corner piece up there. So I'm going to relax this fabric, kind of mold it to the way I want it to go. Like, here we go. Like so. And then I'm going to need more fabric. This is all I had allotted. So I'm going to find another piece. And fortunately, I have my scrap bin right here. And I also have this available readily right there. So I'm going to use this piece, and that'll cover this entire corner, and I think that'll look nice. Does that look nice, guys? Even though this is teal and this is blue, it's not exactly this, the greatest of contrast, but I think it's all right. Okay, so, but it definitely is big enough. So I'm just going to go from corner to corner, right here to here, and make sure that I cover that entire area. So this piece definitely covers that. It's big enough. And then, yeah, face down. And so you can see how that's not exactly straight, and that's fine. I'm bringing it to this white corner and this blue corner right there. Okay, so again, my 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Boom, done. And when you open it up, that's the roof right there. And then I iron this down. Now this part didn't catch. Can you see that? I was a little bit off. The fabric moved a little bit while I was sewing it, so I'm just going to come back in here on the underside and re-sew so that I can see where that fabric line goes. And then there you go. So that might work a little bit better. Okay, now take it over here to this unit, and I want to see, kind of line up everything, make sure like everything is where it should be. So I'm going to flip this onto here like so, and then move the foundation out of the way. And then I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm just going to sew from, whoop, you can't even see that, from this corner to this corner. My little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch. Not quite a full 1/4 inch, but a little bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch. And there we go. There is our little house. So again, I'm going to do one more press, just to try to flatten out the fabric. I know my arm was in the way, guys. I apologize about that. And so then I'm going to, I probably don't even need the foundation. It was just a little guide for me. So if I flip it over and I look at this foundation, one thing that you can do, you can use this foundation as a guide on the back and make sure that all the fabric overhangs. And man, we just made it. That is awesome. Okay. So then with this white fabric in here, and you can change the color of your thread, or white fabric, thread, the color of your thread. You can change the color of your thread. And let's see, do I want to change the color of my thread, or I think I'm just going to keep it white. So I'm just going to sew it down, do a couple stitch lines, attach everything to the foundation. Alright, so once I did that, I'm going to check the back. Yep, everything is flat still. And then I'm going to do a couple more. Maybe I'll run the stitch line up the roof, like so, all the way. Yeah, there we go. And then maybe I'll run it this way too. It's your creation. You can do whatever you want. And I'm just going to stop it right there and back stitch to kind of lock it down there. Yeah, so that outlines the roof right there. Yep. And then I'm going to run another line or 2 or 3 all the way across. Alright, you guys can you see that? I don't know. I don't know if moving this camera helps you, or I think where it was fine. Probably I just messed it up. Okay, now I'm going to do one right across the bottom here. And then maybe I'll outline this door. Alright, now let's look at our little design here. That looks pretty cool. So let's take it over to the cutting surface. So I have my rotary mat here. I have a Omni grid. I'm going to use the small one. This is a 6.5 by 6.5. I'm not sponsored by OmniGrid. I'm just using this ruler, this tool, and I have this Olfa 45mm rotary cutter. Again, not sponsored by anyone. This is all my tools that I have. So I'm just going to cut the 4 inches along here and 6 inches down. Okay? So I want to measure from one side to the other to make sure all the fabric underneath the 4-inch window here is underneath the 4-inch window, and then to the 6-inch line too, and make sure that 6-inch mark is, all the fabric is under the 6-inch. And if right here, like I don't know if you can see, but right here it's not exactly under, so I'm just going to move the ruler this way to make sure all this is still under the cutting surface as well, the 4-inch mark. So we got it good here, guys. This is fantastic right here. So I love this, where this is, and I'm just going to give it a trim, like so, and then trim across the top. And now, if I had my my twirly mat, I would leave this on the twirly mat and just twirl it around. But because it's over there, I'm not going to take the time to get it. So again, I just want to reline. Now I have my 6-inch line here and my 4-inch line here. And I'm just lining up these edges to make sure everything is in the right place. And then I will cut. Wait, 6-inch. Okay. Yeah. I will cut along the other side and the bottom. There and here. Let me do this again just to make sure. Alright, there we go. Nice. There's our house, folks. What do you think about that? Now, if I put it on the cardstock, so I line that up. Now, there is a little piece of white here, and I probably should have chosen a different color than white. I didn't even think about that until I just realized, oh yeah, that's white. So, there we go. You just line it up on the lines that you drew, and you take you could take a little bit of glue and right on the backing, or probably on here. Where's my glue? Let me see if I can find my glue real quick. My little glue stick. Here we go. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to take this glue stick and just add a little bit of glue along the edges and in the center so that I can place this like so. Line up the edges here, that pencil mark there on that side, this line here. There we go. Kind of do that so it's glued down so that when I sew it, it's not going to shift on me. It's already shifted. Alright. There we go. Okay. Does that look like a house at all, guys? Can you kind of see what's going on there? Can you kind of see that? Sorry about the glowing orb right over, like, this area right here. The glowing orb. That gives me a little extra light because it's always super late when I film these videos. So yeah, does that look like some sort of semblance of a house to you guys? Alright, so we're going to take this back. We're not done yet. We're going to take this back to the machine. Now, if you're using a card like this, make sure you open it up, because if you leave it like this, you're sewing your card together. So then there's no point in using a fold open card if you're just going to sew it together. So make sure you open your card, take it back over to the sewing machine, and I have that same 3.5 stitch length in here. I'm just going to start at the white right at the top there, and I'm going to come in. Yeah, maybe I'll come in a little bit less than 1/4 inch seam allowance. No, I take that back. What I'm going to do is change my stitch to a maybe a blanket stitch or a zigzag or a satin stitch of some sort. I don't know. Let's do something kind of fun. So that it goes off the card there. Yeah, so let's do a, I don't know, guys, what do you want to do? What kind of stitch do you want to see? Something that's quick, not the swirl. We could do a blanket stitch, but yeah, okay. Well, I'd rather do a zigzag, but let's do a blanket stitch, but I'm going to make the width longer and the length longer too. So I'm making the width 5 millimeters, and I'm making the length 5 millimeters also. Now, before I do that, I'm going to test it. So I'm going to throw this black tester on here just to see what that looks like. Go to town. Alright, so that you guys can see, it is this ladder looking thing right here. It's not both sides, it's just this. So that is the length, and that is the, yeah, I like that. Okay. The length and the width. Alright, so I need to start on this side. So let me do this one more time to see where that needle goes. Okay, so it goes right there. Alright, so I know where to start. Okay. I'm going to start right at the top, right here. Nice. Go all the way down. Now, keep in mind that when you're putting holes in cardboard or paper, you are creating, oh, I hope this curls up. Here we go. You see that? You are creating a potential for perforation. Can you see it this way? Is this better? No, that is not better. Maybe this way? I don't know if that's better. But you are potentially setting yourself up for perforated paper or cardstock. So keep that in mind. Now, I gotta curl the paper, bring it back in like this. I'm actually gonna readjust that. There we go. Okay, and then along this line, and then I'm gonna just shift the paper and the fabric a little bit. There we go. Guys, this is the first time I'm doing this. This is pretty cool. I like it. I'm going to try to lock that stitch, although it's not really going to matter a whole lot. And then, voila! There we go. There we have it. Hey, hey! And then here's the back. It kind of looks like shoelaces, doesn't it? Yeah. So remember, when you put this many holes in paper, that creates a perforation in the paper. So if you have them really close together, that's a potential for a tear out. And that could be a cool project to do too, especially for maybe like a little kid who, you could tear out the window and like have something else on the inside. So they tear out the window and then they see through to, whatever's on this side. I don't know. It's just, I'm talking right now. Thinking, creating, right? So there it is, guys. It's finished. Now I'm going to put my message right on this side, and then maybe a heart or, a happy house, something or other, happy move-in day. So this could be, for a new move, a remodel, enjoy your new home, away from home, I don't know, whatever you want to do. But yeah, you can make whatever design you want, but I just made this house, and I think it kind of looks like a house, maybe not, I don't know. But Yeah, maybe I should have made the window a little bit smaller, huh? Anyway, there you go, guys. There is a cardstock card, greeting card, fabric greeting card. There you go. All right, enjoy that. Tell me in the comments what you made, and if you had any issues, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the process. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.